Hi lovelies! Welcome back to my channel. And if you're new here, on my channel I talk about all things beauty, fragrances, fashion and lifestyle. And if that sounds amazing to you, please take a second to hit that subscribe button and ring that notification bell next to it so that you will not miss any of my content. You guys, that really helps me out to grow my channel. Also, don't forget to follow me on Instagram. So today I have a bunch of coffee fragrances, you guys. Fragrances with a good prominent coffee note in it. There aren't really that many fragrances with coffee as the #1 accord, but coffee is very much a fragrance note that complements other gourmet fragrance notes in my opinion. I have a lot of really amazing ones. I have about 10 of them here. So if you guys want to see what they are, if you're a coffee lover, if you love to consume coffee, drink coffee, and wear coffee fragrances, dark, sexy, and sultry, just keep watching. So the first one I have is a delicious gourmet fragrance, you guys. In fact, I talked about this in my gourmet fragrances video. I will link it up here and down in the description box. This is perfect for the fall time, especially. It's got gourmet accords like caramel in it. The coffee in here, you can smell the coffee, and the coffee is really very much complementing the other gourmet notes like the caramel in here. This is Dolce & Gabbana, the only one. You guys, this one, this is so sexy. This is a sexy gourmet. The coffee accord in here really complements that caramel and the vanilla in here. This is quite a bit powdery. This has got a couple of blue, purple floral notes, giving it that sort of iris, kind of violet kind of touch to this fragrance. So yeah, this is very much a sweet caramel, coffee, vanilla, violet, iris, warm, spicy, slightly citrusy, slightly fruity fragrance. This opens with a bunch of citrus notes like bergamot, mandarin orange, I think, with violet in the opening. So from the get-go, it's slightly powdery. Violet is a powdery floral. And in the middle, you get a few floral notes like rose and orange blossom with iris, which is very powdery, much of blue, purple, powdery floral with that coffee in the middle. You guys, the coffee is quite prominent in this fragrance. And then there's, of course, caramel in the base with vanilla, of course, and there's a good amount of patchouli in here, but the patchouli isn't coming across super strong and dirty at all. It's more like it kind of makes it more intense, like a stronger fragrance in my opinion, like a longer lasting fragrance. This is definitely one for cold weather nighttime wear, you know, for fall and winter nighttime wear, especially fall. I love to wear my gourmets in the fall time, you guys, especially caramelly, coffee kind of chocolatey type of dark gourmets, you know. Yeah, and lasting power is amazing. This will last you actually longer than 6 hours. I would say going on 8 hours on skin and clothes until you wash them, and even after, really. It's got great longevity. It's got a nice scent bubble and sillage as well. This is Dolce & Gabbana, the only one. Next, I have very much a loved fragrance. This is like one of those tried and true fragrances a lot of women have as their go-to sexy nighttime fragrances. And this gets a lot of, you know, I guess hate too, especially on YouTube, which I don't understand. And a lot of people talk about this as if it's like outdated and irrelevant, which it isn't, you guys. It's such a gorgeous fragrance. This one has got a very big coffee accord. However, its sister here has even a bigger coffee accord. I will talk about her next. This one is none other than YSL Black Opium. You guys, this one, I think this is quite a beautiful composition with that massive dose of vanilla in here with the coffee. It's also like warm, spicy, it's sweet, it's got white florals in here, it's fruity, it's woody, it's powdery, it's quite a bit balsamic too. It opens with pear, orange blossom, and pink pepper, which is quite a juicy, white, florally, bright opening, with pink pepper being such a bright, soft spice. And in the middle you get jasmine, there's almond, and then you get that massive dose of coffee with a little bit of licorice, you guys. Although I gotta say, the licorice doesn't come through very strong for me, but I can smell the coffee. And there's a massive, massive, massive dose of vanilla in the base. This has got patchouli, I think cashmere too, and other woody notes like cedar. Like I said, it's quite a sexy fragrance. There are, I'm sure, many more fragrance notes in here that have not been revealed. It smells more complex than what is shown in the fragrance composition, in my opinion. It's very sexy, very sultry, nighttime fragrance to go out in. You can wear it on a date night, really. It's a, you know, like a night out party kind of fragrance. It's still popular. This is YSL Black Opium. Then I have its sister in my hands, the latest release in the Black Opium line, the latest flanker to the original that I just showed, Black Opium. This is Black Opium Extreme. You guys, if you think that the original didn't have enough coffee, here's the one for you. Now, I also have Black Opium Intense, which also has coffee, which I don't know why I didn't bring it down with me. But you know how you expected it to have, like, it to be the stronger version of Black Opium, the original, which it isn't. It's got like absinthe, you know, it's kind of different from what you expected. Now, the Black Opium Extreme really is the intense of your dreams. So this is the actual true intense of the original, in my opinion. And if you wished that the original had more coffee, this does. So here's the intense for you, which isn't called the intense, it's just called the extreme. Yeah, this, you can smell the coffee in this fragrance. This one is very, very coffee dominant. You know, it's very spicy too, and it's chocolatey. This one has chocolate in it as well. This one is, yeah, this is quite a dark, decadent gourmet with coffee in it, you guys. This coffee is unmistakably there. You can smell the coffee combined with that chocolate. It's so good with this, you know, the spices in here. It's quite a spicy fragrance, by the way. So it's got a massive dose of vanilla. There's white florals in here. There's patchouli, obviously, because it's quite an intense fragrance. Patchouli gives it strength. It's very woody, also balsamic. I'm sure there are balsamic notes in here that haven't been revealed. So it opens with coffee, and then in the middle you get a bunch of white florals, including jasmine and orange blossom, and in the base you get a massive, massive dose of vanilla, and then you get patchouli. Although the patchouli isn't like very like hit you in the face in this fragrance. If you're afraid of patchouli, don't worry, you can't really smell a dirty patchouli in here at all. So this is also balsamic, so I'm assuming there's like a balsamic fragrance note in here, like a balsam, you know, a resin balsam type of note in here that they haven't revealed. There's obviously more notes that they haven't revealed in this fragrance, but yeah, this is definitely a very dark coffee fragrance. It's very much a coffee fragrance. You can smell the coffee from the first spray. This is YSL Black Opium Extreme. So next I have a gorgeous, decadent, a gourmet, spicy gourmet with a coffee note in it. This one is definitely a date night fragrance, nighttime wear. This one is from one of my favorite luxury fragrance houses, you guys. You guessed it, Fragrance du Bois. This is Minuit Demi by Fragrance du Bois. You guys, this one, so good. This is such a beautiful fragrance, you guys. This has got warm spices like cardamom. This has got a huge, massive dose of caramel. Like I said, this is a decadent gourmet. And this has got a massive dose of vanilla. It's very aromatic. It's got coffee in it, like I said. You can smell the coffee in here. It's got woody notes. It's got a little bit of musk in it. It opens with spicy, warm spicy notes like cardamom and pimento. And then there's bergamot too in the opening. And in the middle, you get this massive dose of caramel with a massive dose of coffee, you guys. Like what I smell the most in this fragrance, to be honest, are these three. I can smell the cardamom, I can smell the caramel, I can smell the coffee. It's got a bit of a booziness. There's a boozy note in the base. It's very much a boozy, warm, spicy, caramelly coffee gourmet fragrance. So in the base you get two types of vanilla, you guys. There's Madagascar vanilla and vanilla, so double doses of vanilla. And this has, like I said, a liquor accord in the base, which makes it quite nice and boozy. It's got cinnamon in the base, adding to that warm spices in the opening. It's got musk, it's got vetiver with a slight earthiness. There's cashmere too, I believe. There's tobacco, which adds like another layer to this. There are woody notes like cedar. Yeah, you can smell the coffee because the coffee and caramel are in the middle, so they're quite strong. Yeah, it's definitely a nighttime, date night kind of fragrance. A lot of people say that this reminds them of Changing Constant by Penhaligon's. I actually have a sample of Changing Constant upstairs. I gotta say, not exactly. I wouldn't call this a dupe for the Penhaligon's Changing Constants, because to me this is a lot more than that. So this one has more layers to this fragrance than the Changing Constants, although they share some notes in common. I would not call it a dupe. They smell different to me, yet similar but different, you know. So this is Minuit Demi by Fragrance du Bois. So next I have a kind of a synthetic rose coffee vanilla fragrance. You can smell the coffee in the fragrance, however the rose is more prominent than the coffee in this fragrance. This is Motel Intense Cafe, you guys. This one, yes, the coffee is there, but the roses come across a bit more, and then there's a massive dose of vanilla too. Yeah, the coffee is sort of there, like making it sort of dark, sexy and sultry, but you can smell the roses the most, and then you can smell vanilla, and then you can smell coffee. This is also floral, powdery, musky and amber fragrance. So it opens with a bunch of floral notes, and then there's rose and coffee, literally rose and coffee in the middle. I'm sure there are other notes that aren't revealed, but rose and coffee are the main notes in the middle. And then you get a massive dose of vanilla in the base with a big dose of musk and amber, which makes it quite sexy. Yeah, you can smell the coffee, but mixed with the rose, the coffee isn't as prominent as you would like it to be, but it's definitely called Intense Cafe because it, you know, you have the coffee in it. And this is obviously a synthetic vibe that this fragrance has, because Motel fragrances tend to have that synthetic undertone to them. This is Motel Intense Cafe. I have another gorgeous gourmet fragrance with a coffee accord in it. This one is not as dense as you would expect it to be because of a certain accord. I will tell you what it is here in a minute. This could have been really thick, dense, and really like, you know, just heavy, but it isn't, because there is sea notes in here, which adds like a marine accord to this fragrance that keeps it from being too dense, too thick, too heavy. But it's definitely a gourmet with coffee in it. This is Bond Number 9 New York Nights. Now this one, you guys, yeah, this has got that coffee in it. It's just gorgeous. This has got a heavy dose of caramel. It's very sweet. It's got coffee in it. It's got quite a bit of warm spices. It's very much like woody, and it's got a strong patchouli accord in it. There's white florals in here. It's definitely floral. It's a little sweet. Again, that coffee accord is there. The coffee is in here. And by the way, there's amber as well. But to lighten it all up, there are sea notes in here, giving it a marine accord. So it lightens it a little bit, not as heavy and dense as it could have been. So this opens with gardenia, jasmine, and carnation, you guys. Quite the floral combination. And in the middle you get those C notes, you guys, the beautiful marine accord that the C notes give. Love it. There are lots of florals. There's patchouli, and then there is sandalwood, which is very sensual, and it's in the middle, which makes it super sensual. And then in the base you get that massive dose of caramel and coffee. So yeah, the caramel and coffee you mainly smell on the dry down. In the opening, it's a little bit more marine and floral, you know, if that makes sense. So as it dries down is when you can smell like the caramel and the coffee. Yeah, this is a gorgeous coffee fragrance, that a gourmand coffee fragrance that isn't too thick, isn't too heavy. However, it is a fragrance I recommend you wear at nighttime during the colder months, just because of the gourmand notes in here. This is Bond number 9, New York Nights. Okay, so next one I have, actually I talked about this in my chocolate fragrances, because along with coffee, this has a very notable chocolate accord as well. Check that out. I will link it up here and down in the description box. This one is a very dark, almost gothic, decadent, delicious, heavy gourmand. This is a heavy, thick gourmand. This is Killian Black Phantom, you guys. Like I said, this has got all the amazing gourmand accords in here. There's caramel, there's chocolate, there's coffee, and it's super sweet. There's like literally sugar in here. Oh, very sweet. You know, very dense fragrance, you know, and it's got a very prominent patchouli accord in here too. The kind of patchouli you get in Tom Ford Black Orchid, that kind of patchouli mixed in with the gourmand fragrances, that's kind of what you smell. This has got booziness in it. This is like a boozy gourmand. There's rum in here. It's also very nutty, like from like almond or something, I think. It's also woody. It's a little bit powdery. Like I said, you guys, this is a very thick gourmand. This has got that coffee, massive dose of coffee with a massive dose of caramel and a massive dose of chocolate. Caramel, coffee, chocolate are, yeah, main notes, accords in here. And then you get the booziness from the rum, of course. There's literally sugar in here, you guys. There are like powdery notes like heliotrope, and there is sandalwood in this fragrance. So yeah, it's quite a dark, decadent, heavy, thick, dense gourmand with a very prominent coffee accord. This is Killian Black Phantom. Next I have one of my all-time favorite sexy fragrances. You know, my go-to fragrances, one of my go-to fragrances when I want to smell sexy, when I go out at night, like a night out. It's again a dumb reach for me when I want to smell sexy. This is none other than Lancôme La Nuit Tresor. This is the original, you guys. I have the A La Folie too. Now that one is more of a vanilla dominant fragrance, whereas this one's got a nice coffee note in here that I can smell. It's not the most prominent coffee fragrance. Obviously, I wouldn't really call this a coffee dominant fragrance at all. This has got a bunch of other really delicious gourmand notes in here as well. It's very like sweet, warm, spicy, caramelly fragrance with a massive vanilla accord, and there's patchouli in here. Like I said, there's coffee and it's got amber. It's definitely a balsamic fragrance, you guys. There are some balsamic notes in here as well that may not be revealed. It opens with a juicy pear note and bunch of like citruses like mandarin orange and bergamot. In the middle you get rose, vanilla, orchid, there's passion fruit, and in the base you get those gorgeous gourmets like there's caramel, praline, vanilla, massive dose of vanilla with that coffee note. There's incense in the base, there's patchouli in the base, there's licorice, there's coumarin. It's quite a unique fragrance, you guys. The coffee, you can smell the coffee in here. But is it the most dominant accord? No, it is not. So if you want like a strong coffee fragrance, this isn't the one for you. Like I said, the ones I spoke about in the beginning of the video, those are more of the coffee dominant fragrances, but this does have a coffee note in it. This is La Nuit Tresor à la Folie. Next I have a fragrance. It's like more of a white floral fragrance that actually has heavy gourmet notes in the base that makes it more suitable for nighttime wear. That actually has coffee in the opening. However, the coffee isn't the center accord in this fragrance or the dominant accord. So I gotta be honest with you guys. So this is like, if you want like a coffee fragrance, like a super coffee fragrance, this isn't for you. This is not like a dominant coffee fragrance at all. This just has a coffee note in it in the opening, which is why I put this in the list. But if you're looking for like a strong coffee fragrance, don't get this. I would recommend, if you want a really strong coffee fragrance, I would say the YSL Black Opium Extreme, or the DNG Dolce Gabbana, the only one, or the Black Phantom. Actually, any of the others. So this one isn't as prominent in the coffee note as the others. This is Good Girl by Carolina Herrera. Like I said, this is a white floral fragrance, but this has got a bunch of really thick heavy gourmet notes that makes it very appropriate for colder months, nighttime wear. It's very white floral, warm, spicy, sweet, vanilla heavy, cacao, ambery fragrance with coffee in it. It's a little nutty and powdery as well. Like I said, you guys, it opens with a coffee note. So there's coffee, almonds and citruses in the opening, but that sort of disappears after a little bit. So the coffee in here doesn't last that long. What you're gonna end up smelling for the most of the day when you spray this would be the middle and base notes, especially the base note. In the middle, you get a bunch of gorgeous florals, like white florals, like tuberose, jasmine, orange blossom. Then you get rose too in the middle. You get orris in the middle, adding to the powderiness. And in the base, you get that cacao, and then there's praline, there's tonka bean and vanilla in the base, which makes it quite vanilla heavy too. It's got amber, it's got musk, it's got sandalwood, it's got patchouli, it's got a little bit of cinnamon, and there's cedar. So yeah, this isn't like the most coffee dominant fragrance, you guys. There's just a coffee note in the opening, but it doesn't stick around for that long. So this is Carolina Herrera, Good Girl. So that's it, you guys. Those are my beautiful coffee fragrances that really complement the gourmet notes in those fragrances. I think coffee adds to that sexy dark vibes, especially complement other gourmet notes for sure. Usually if you get coffee in a fragrance, usually it's a nighttime wear fragrance, more suitable for colder months. These are all fragrances that I love to wear in the fall especially. So you guys, let me know what kind of coffee fragrances you love to wear. If you know of more coffee dominant fragrances like the ones I spoke about in the beginning of this video, let me know. I'm in the search. I'm on the hunt for more coffee dominant fragrances, you guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please don't forget to give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Ring that notification bell so you can be notified every time I upload. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram as well. I will see you guys in my next video.